following program is a live music-based podcast. G'day Gridiron. G'day Gridiron. Now you've heard the best and worst of them. Now you're about to hear the first of them. The first to ever do it down under. We're here to steal your thunder. Like the world's end down in Thunderdome. Welcome to our second home. All you need to know is G'day. This is G'day Gridiron. 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 This is G'day Gridiron.
G'day Aussie Gridiron fans, and welcome to another episode of the G'day Gridiron podcast, brought to you by the Aussie Gridiron Network. We're back for another off-season program, and this one is a special one. It is just taking us all the way back to the OG days of G'day Gridiron. My name is Ian Tomlinson. In the house with me today, I have Brad Cummins and the voice of Australian Gridiron, Manjot Melly. Also, the two guys that started this podcast, G'day Gridiron, with me originally, way back in what did I work it out to be, Brad? 2022. Yep. So when Manjot and I kicked it off for the 2022 season. So old school lineup today, boys. Old school, Brad.
Hey, we throw it back. The throwback jerseys have been in vogue for a while now, and that's the Throwback Podcast. So here we are. Hold on to your hats.
Maybe we need a throwback G'day Gridiron shirt.
Oh, what would that be?
Just a mental note, Manjot. Just a mental note. Maddie as well. Let's do that. Manjot, how you going, brother?
Oh, man, it's been a while since I've been in the studio with you boys. It's great to be back. Absolutely love being back with you boys as usual.
Awesome.
I've been going well, actually. As you guys know, I've been away from the show, of course, for a year and a bit now. I've been working hard on Aussie Gridiron today and other projects as well with the NFL, just really trying to sort my life out outside of football. But it's going well, and I
there
miss
is
this
no
program
life outside of football, Manjot.
Yeah,
I do know that.
Football? What are you talking about?
Come on, man.
What is this concept?
Don't worry, boys. I mean, as we know from earlier shows in the season with the other Aussie NFL fantasy boys, there's a whole Manjot wants a wife sort of thing going around in our network. So, I haven't got to that stage of having a life outside of football, so it's all right.
It's you, Manjot. There's no way any of us in the Aussie Gridiron Network would start a hashtag of hashtag Manjot wants a wife. No, that wouldn't happen. Brad, by the way, this would be the throwback G'day Gridiron logo.
There you go. Which I still think it's a great logo.
It is a great logo. It's, of course, still done by Tom Hobbs, who has done our other logos as well. This is still a great logo. This would be the throwback.
I would love to have a T-shirt.
I actually think, well, guess what, Brad? You're in luck. Because this design is on our merch store, which you'll find at linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. Thanks for that segue, Brad. That designer is actually there, I remember now. Matty has had that. I don't know if it's the green and gold one that's there or if it's the black one, because there is a black version only, but I really like the green and gold one.
Yeah. No,
that would be our throwback. But there we go. All right, why is Manjot here? Why we're doing this throwback today? Well, we're throwing it back to a concept that the three of us came up with in our second year of recording. So after the 2022 season, Manjot and I started the season. It was just us. Brad came in about halfway through. When we got to 2023, in that off-season period after the Super Bowl, where everyone goes into this weird state of ayahuasca trips and dark holes and all kinds of weird retreats, and you don't know which way is up or down or left or right. And in the podcast land, that is, you just don't know what we're doing. We were coming up with concepts for what we can do and what content can we put out there. Everybody does immediately after the draft happens. Everyone does a draft review. We did a draft review show this year, Brad. You and I, we did our first round one, which is great. But then everyone always does this. Let's redraft the draft based on who got picked and who was better and all this sort of stuff. Or they'll do it a month or two down the track. No, we don't like to live in the right now because we don't know who these kids are, do we, Manjot? Absolutely not.
Definitely not. Even, I mean, we've got a few videotapes as well today that really show that. That really show that.
Really
Just
show that, would you, actually? So what we thought, and the concept we came up with was, let's redraft or let's review a draft class from 4 years prior, because by that point, every one of the guys that picked in all 7 rounds of a draft will have come up for their first contracts. We'll know, are they a boom or are they a bust or are they somewhere in between? And we figured that's the better way to do it. We've been doing this since 2023. I went back and had a look. So the 2019 draft class was the first one we actually had a look at, and we did 2020. Now we're up to the 2021 draft class, which, of course, Brad, was a very big draft class that in recent memory, because we had all of these top quarterbacks, these top players in the top end of the draft that have caused so much conjecture amongst the league over the years.
Yeah. I think that's putting it lightly. What do we have? Like 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 15 picks, I think it was. So
5 all up in so 4 in the top 15.
Yeah, 4 in the top 15.
5 in the top 15.
Yeah.
All 5 in the top 15.
Oh, five in the 15, and we'll get to that later. I'm assuming how all 5 did, or they're doing.
Well, all but one are still currently on the same team that drafted them, and this is only 4 years later. So,
Wow.
yeah. So the rest of 4 of them have moved on from the team that drafted them. One, which is obvious to everybody, which is Trevor Lawrence, is the only one still left on the team that drafted them in 2021. So, yeah, it's had a lot of conjecture. There's a lot of other guys too. So what are we going to do today? In previous years, we've gone through the whole draft class. Every team's, how they drafted. Like the first year, we split it into AFC and NFC, and we did that with Mark, and we went through every team. We're not going to go that far in depth. We thought this year we're going to change it up. We've got a better system for what we're going to do. We're going to tier rank. We all love a bit of a great tier ranking.
Love the
So
tiers.
we're going to tier rank the first round of the 2021 draft. We're going to go through all 32 picks, have a little bit to say about each guy, figure out where they fit in a 5-level tier that Brad has kindly made up some amazing names for, which are very self-explanatory. So we're going to do that, have a bit of fun doing that exercise, and hopefully everybody enjoys the podcast and gets a little bit of entertainment out of it. I've also made this tier ranking on an amazing site called Tier Maker, and I've saved it actually because the easiest way for me to do it at the time was to save it as a template, as a public template. So you yourself could go and search for this template right now, which is called, I think from memory, I put it as 2021 NFL Draft Ranking. And then you, after we do this, can go and do your own tier ranking. Let us know what you think from that as well. So if you want to do that and share it on socials, tag us at G'day Gridiron on Instagram or Facebook. Put it at Aussie Gridiron Network as well. Let us know what you think. So this is going to be what we think, though. So, boys, 1 through 32, is that the way we're going?
1 through 32. Gotta love it.
1 through 32, righto. Are we ready to go? Are we ready to go? At the end, of course, actually, we're actually going to give each of us is going to give our top 5 players from the entire draft as well, because there are some guys that were picked in the 3rd and 4th rounds, even later, that need some actual love or deserve some love in this. So we've got top 5 players from each of us later on. So pick number 1. We'll let Manjot kick it off. Trevor Lawrence. We've got 5 levels here. Franchise founders, game changers, solid starters, still waiting, and bust watch. So, Brad, do we want to explain a little bit about the tiers? What do you reckon?
I mean, it is somewhat self-explanatory, but the franchise founders, to me, those are the cornerstones, the guys that you build your team around, that you can count in and year out. They're going to be at that all-pro level. The game changers, you're talking about, okay, guys that they're going to have a couple Pro Bowls, they're going to have that type of thing, some off-season awards, but they're not quite at that elite level. Your solid starters, just what it says. They contribute to the teams. They make a valuable contribution. It's kind of what you'd expect, especially in the back half of the first round. And the still waiting guys that just have not fulfilled their potential at all, and they may still be in the league, but you're just kind of going, when are they going to get it together? Are they going to get it together? And Bust Watch, it's just basically, we might as well rename that the Trey Lance category. So, sorry. I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but everybody knows that's not hard to put there. So, the Bust Watch guys that just have not panned out.
Fair enough, Brad. That's great explanation. Thank you for that. So, Manjot, your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence at this stage? Where would you put him within those five?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one with Trevor Lawrence because the expectations for him are a lot higher coming into this draft compared to every other player. He was labeled as a generational quarterback, so everyone, I think, has been more disappointed by him because of that big label that's been given to him since he was in high school. Since he just came out of high school and was entering the college football sort of portal, he was ranked number 1 in the country, that sort of thing.
Touchdown Jesus.
Yeah. He was just absolutely just rated as this generational talent. I don't think he has shown it yet. So if we were basing off his expectation, I would say still waiting. But based off a general expectation, I'd definitely say a solid starter. I think he's definitely proven himself as a good NFL quarterback, and that with the body of work he's had, he's been, I believe, in a Pro Bowl as well. So I would definitely rate Trevor Lawrence up there. So I would put him in a solid starter. I don't think he is quite the elite quarterback most people would believe him to be, with that sort of label as a generational talent. But yeah, I'd definitely put him as a solid starter for now. But he has room to grow.
See, to me, he's more he's debatable, and I know he's a little bit of a lightning rod for just controversy, because so much of it surrounds his surroundings, what he's been given, the coaching situation. Yep. We've talked a lot, especially on this show. Ian and I, in particular, just have an extreme distaste, hatred. I don't like the word hatred, but when we say the name Urban Meyer, it makes
I think I could go with hatred for Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
mate.
I'd rather eat my own poo than have him. So it's just so I think he's been dealt a bad hand. So I get where you're coming from with the solid starter thing. I kind of put him actually in the game changer category, but I could go either way. So Ian, you're going to have to be our tiebreaker here.
Well, I was already thinking the game changer category, and it's purely because for me, I look at these top down and I go, where can someone fit? He's not a franchise guy. He's not the guy at the moment that you would build that franchise around. They're trying to build a franchise around him, but I don't think because of the coaching situations and where they've been put, that they've been successful in that yet. And it may be entirely different this year with an entire different regime change and a lot of expectation around the front office this time, not necessarily the player group. It's around what can the front office achieve with these generational talents that they've got, like Trevor Lawrence. So for me, I go down to the next one. I go to game changers. He can make a difference when he's healthy, when he's there, and when he's on the day. When he aligns with the coach properly, we've seen them do it, and we've seen them get to a playoff. Yeah. And yes, they got there and they fizzled out. But
they should have won. But
that's right. They should have won, but they really just shit the bed in the second half. But they got there, and a lot of teams that first year with a new, a rookie QB essentially, because that's what he was in that year. might get to a playoff, but then not get that much further. We look at this year, even the last year, the Commanders did it, and just couldn't quite get over that hump. But you were doing it with a rookie, so you kind of forgive people for that. But you wouldn't build around him as the way he is this far in. We're talking 4 years into his contract, and obviously they've already given him a massive contract. I would put him solid game changer. I don't think I'd go solid starter because I think he's better than that, but I would go game changer. So
there we go.
So we'll go to there if that's what the debate is. All right.
Yep.
Number 2 off the list, the New York Jets picked none other than Zach Milf Hunter Wilson.
Jeez.
If out there is looking at the tiles that I've created for this tier as well. I obviously created it with the tile of the team that drafted them in 2021.
Yeah.
Yes, I know some of these guys are on different teams now. Don't get up my ass about it. This is who drafted them, so that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson. Now, good Lord, what do you do with Zach Wilson? Number one, just like we're forgiving, and we all forgive Trevor Lawrence for the rookie year with Urban Meyer, I have to forgive Zach Wilson for the fact that the Jets picked him, okay? The Jets drafted him. And I don't care who the Jets draft between 1920 and 2080. Whoever they draft in the first round, they're going to fuck up their life, basically, okay?
Yeah.
So I have to give him that. But from that point onwards, has Zach Wilson really shown that he can be something in this league? Brad, what do you think? I would have him. I'm sort of sitting at that sort of in between that still waiting and a bust, if that makes sense. Because I think the guy has some talent, but has he been put into the right situation yet to be able to show us that he has that talent we all think he has?
Yeah, so full disclosure, I put him in the bus watch because I feel like he's now on his third team. So he went to Denver and then now he's with Miami. And I agree with you in the sense that it's the Jets and ineptitude is part and parcel with the Jets, but that team was a decent team. Their defense was still legit when they had him. So, but he just didn't do it at all, and he hasn't done it at Denver. He had his shot at Denver, didn't come through with anything there. Miami, you figure Mike McDonald, next to Kevin O'Connell, he's the kind of the quarterback whisperer a little bit. So it's, and so far you haven't heard anything. You have the Dolphins are comfortable if Tua goes down. We've got Zach Wilson, and so I just think, personally, I'm at the other end. I'm just saying no, bus watch.
I think we put some of those points here actually when he got signed to the Dolphins as well, Brad. I remember us talking about the fact that he's probably landed in the best situation to show what he can, because we all know that at some point in this next season he's going to get a chance. Because unfortunately, I mean, at the same time, we all sort of pray that Tua is doesn't die on an NFL field. Yeah. But we all think that at some point he's not going to play a couple of games, which means Zach Wilson will get a chance to start. And I think we talked about the fact that it's a if not now, then when kind of situation. So that's the best. So Manjot, what do you sort of think? Are you pretty firmly down with bus watch with Trey Lance right now? With Zach Wilson. My bad.
With Zach Wilson, I'm definitely.
It's because I see red on your camera.
Yeah, well, look, with Zach Wilson, definitely. I'm definitely leaning with Brad. With a lot of the way I have ranked guys today, it's sort of, I'm just ranking them based on what we have seen and not with potential. I can definitely see there could be some potential for him to finally break through as a quarterback in Miami, but I don't think he's shown anything to give us confidence so far. So I've got to put him in the bus watch, just for how bad it was as well for the Jets. I feel like just the second overall pick, he was definitely up there, and then just has fizzled out. So yeah, bust watch for me.
Righto. Bust watch for Zach Wilson for the third overall pick, which of course was the San Francisco 49ers.
Who'd they take, Manjot?
We've got something special from Manjot to share right now. Manjot actually volunteered this information, so sucked in Manjot. Let's listen in, Brad, shall we?
I love it.
With the third pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Trey Lance.
Yeah! Yes! Not Mac Jones! Not Mac Jones! Trey Lance! Yes, it's over! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, Trey Lance! Come here, Trey Area! Trey Area! Trey Area! Let's go! Bro!
Trey
Let's go.
Area.
We didn't get Mac Jones. Oh my god! MVP! MVP! MVP!
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is gold.
Bro,
This
turn the
is gold.
camera on me, man. Bro,
Did you
bro.
That's how we on camera.
Oh my gosh.
I think I turned the
Bro,
camera to
unbelievable.
me eventually.
Trey Lance, man, to the 49ers. Here we go. It's not Mac Jones. Bro, Trey Lance to the 49ers. Look at his hair. He looks like Mahomes. Bro, Jimmy G gotta stay this year, man. He's gonna have to lead us to Super Bowl. But from next year and onwards, Trey.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Of
Alright, we
course.
gotta stop it there. We gotta stop it there.
Then of course, if you weren't watching on YouTube, I suggest you go to Pastry Press NFL on YouTube and find this show and check that out, because that is Manjot's live reaction to the San Francisco 49ers picking Trey Lance at number 3 in the 2021 draft.
MVP! MVP! MVP!
And you can guarantee, Manjot, that I am going to... I haven't done drops in a long time from our episodes.
Oh
but,
my gosh.
you can guarantee that I am getting some
I'm
drops from
getting
that.
exposed, guys.
Yes, indeed, I am getting exposed. Look, I volunteered that one, boys, because I knew 100%, I got that wrong at the time.
I love it.
And look, I just, this is full disclaimer, I just don't delete shit off social media once I post on Pastry Press. Like, I just don't delete it. Like, I don't think I've ever deleted a post, or very rarely I do, if I made like a bad typo or something.
No,
But
you own
always-
it, Manjot. That's
always
obviously
own it.
very commendable. But I'm pretty sure we can all agree at this point in time we can put Trey Lance as bust watch.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
mean, Brad wanted to name the tier after him, so I'm pretty sure we can put him as a bust watch.
Pretty safe, but had to put some comic relief in there for you
I
boys
love
to
that.
take a shot at me.
That is gold. And
Just real
props.
quickly, do you think Trey Lance is in a if not now then when situation as well? We talked about that with Zach Wilson, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be. He's is he San Diego or Chargers?
You're allowed to say San Diego. Everyone
yeah.
knows what it is.
Yeah. He's with the Chargers, and he couldn't even crack second string. He was in Dallas behind Cooper Rush. So, and he had plenty of opportunities. Jimmy wanted him to succeed. So, I think the writing's on the wall. I wouldn't surprise me if he's out of the league in a couple of years.
Yeah, he definitely. I would say
He's
he's
actually QB3 technically on the depth chart behind Taylor Heineke.
Jeez, yeah.
And like Herbert's been pretty like solid as a starter the whole time he's been there, hasn't he? I don't think he's missed many games in his
Yeah.
career. I'm just having a quick look to make sure that I'm
No,
not
he
talking out
hasn't
my
missed-
ass. But
he hasn't missed very many, I think, at all. So
Yeah.
it's,
Look, I'll just offer with Trey Lance. I think he did make a mistake not staying another year in college. I think he just lost a lot of reps. And I think, look, I'll make a current comparison. I think Anthony Richardson definitely is another guy you can put in this Trey Lance sort of area who could have benefited from more time in college, more time actually having pass attempts. I think we're seeing that with Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson actually got the play time that Trey Lance just never got with injuries. So I think we're seeing the exact same situation in Indy right now. So just offering that sort of perspective as well, just how bad it was.
Yeah.
Very much so. I mean, he's going to have a solid career as a QB3 in the league.
Yeah.
So he's clearly he keeps getting jobs, which means he must be pretty good on a practice field in terms of emulation of opposition quarterbacks. You know, so he's clearly doing something right at various places, but just never good enough to find the field as a starter, which is more to Manjot's point that he probably should have stayed in college a bit longer. All right, pick number 4. The Atlanta Falcons took the highest ever picked tight end, Kyle Pitts. Manjot, do you want to start us off with Kyle Pitts? I know you've been a bit of a fan over the years, and you've kind of been waiting for him to jump out at us.
Oh yeah, I love talking about Kyle Pitts on the fantasy show because man, every year comes up in fantasy football. Kyle Pitts, all right, is this the year where he finally gets it going? Is this the year where he finally gets it going? And then we're just like, no, it just didn't happen this year. All right, what about next year? Let's build the hype. And he's always been like some sort of mid-round pick in fantasy. And just really, this year his value's completely dropped because I think everyone's just tired of waiting. I think definitely that word waiting gives away which tier I'm putting it in. Still waiting for him to actually get into a solid starting role. I mean, last year with Penix coming in, it looked like finally Pitts was just going to start going. But then he made a couple of costly mistakes that cost them touchdowns in games. And I just feel like the Falcons, I think they're going to stick with Pitts as long as they can. But if he just doesn't show that talent that he has, we're still going to forever wait. That's all I can really think about with Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. He's to me, he's one of those. He's a rare talent, and if you remember the first half of his rookie season, he was on track to be like, okay, he's legit. Like this was a worthwhile pick. But then he's been dinged up so much. So injuries have definitely cost him. He has not lived up to the draft hype at all whatsoever. And so you got to say, is it the scheme? Is it the quarterback play? All these things. But he's still got all this, like you said, Manjot, he's got all this sky-high potential. But that begins to weigh thin on people. And I think you've seen it now poke through like a finger through the toilet paper. And it's just, and not a good feeling either. So it's I'm putting him in that still waiting category. He's not a bust, but I believe he's waiting.
No notes for me, boys. I was 100% still waiting. There was if I went through all 32, he would have been the first one I would ever pick for that category, to be honest.
All right. Yep.
Just looking at those. Because it is what it is. Pick number 5. The Cincinnati Bengals picked none other than Jamar Chase. I mean, seriously, you mentioned Jamar Chase. There's no notes on this. It has to be top level. He has to be the first guy in our franchise founders, doesn't he?
Has to be.
Yeah. You ask Atlanta, who would they rather have, Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase?
Yeah, that's right. So,
yeah.
Well, you ask San Francisco 49ers, who would you rather have, Trey Lance or Jamar Chase?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, you could definitely.
Or the Jets or Trevor Lawrence. I think he could have even gone to the Jets and they may not have fucked him up.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. I think you could probably ask 30, 31 teams who would they rather have, their pick or Jamar Chase, and they'd say Jamar Chase.
Yeah, definitely. I'd just like to add as well, it was a very interesting thought process in Cincinnati at the time. It was between him and Penei Sewell, who would get on in the next couple of picks. It's a very interesting debate, and I think they chose the right way. At the time, I said they got to get Chase. They chose Chase, and he's been a generational talent, but they haven't addressed the O-line still. So
yeah, they're still waiting. 4 years on, Manjot, they're still waiting.
Yeah.
Still waiting.
Pick number 5, Jalen Waddle to the Dolphins. You know what? I don't know. Brad, straight away, where would you put him?
I put him in the game changer. And I can't say because he's had Tyreek Hill next to him and all this and that, but He's good. He's a good player. He's got elite speed, separation. He's perfect pairing with Tyreek Hill. He broke the Dolphins' rookie receiving record. He's top tier in terms of yards after the catch. So they scheme. They try and scheme him open, which is what you should do. So now he hasn't done anything wrong in my opinion. I put him in that game changer category.
Yeah.
Manjot, any notes on that?
I've got to agree with that. Yeah. He's been 1,000-yard receiver every year, except for last year when he got through a few injuries, and the Dolphins' quarterback situation of hell. But yeah, just definitely a game changer for me.
All right, Manjot mentioned him. Detroit Lions. Penei Sewell, offensive tackle, went to the Detroit Lions. The first tackle off the board in that 2021 draft as well. It wasn't a very deep draft, but Penei Sewell, I would probably say, was definitely the pick of all those tackles. Manjot, what are you thinking for Penei Sewell? What do you reckon in those those five tiers that we've got?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, they were planning to start him on the left side, but then eventually found some place on the right side of the O-line as well. He's got 2 All-Pros. For me, definitely has to be a franchise founder. If you got 2 All-Pros in this stage of your career, that's half your seasons as an All-Pro. I'm definitely putting him in that franchise founder category.
Okay. Brad, thoughts?
Yeah, to me, it's a no-brainer. He's a franchise founder. He just embodies that whole Detroit Lions kind of tough as nails. You don't complain, you just play. Yep. He embodies that O-line spirit, and he fits Dan Campbell so well. I'm partial because he's an Oregon Duck, but it's just I love the dude. I was happy when the Bengals didn't choose him because I didn't want him going to Cincy. And then when he went to Detroit, I thought, oh, this will be perfect, Dan Campbell. And it's been a great match, absolutely fantastic match. So
I would argue that every single Dan Campbell era pick has been a Dan Campbell guy as well.
Oh yeah,
like out and out. They are the same. They embody the same attitude every time. And I agree with you. Penei Sewell is at the top of that list. That guy he's just a game wrecker as well.
He was the first Dan Campbell pick too, so that just shows you he is a franchise founder because he set that culture in motion. I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Manjot, you're absolutely right. When you're all pro, like 2 out of your 4 years in the league.
Great point.
Good Lord. Carolina Panthers were at pick number 8, and they took cornerback J.C. Horn. Brad, J.C. Horn?
Yeah, so this is one of he hasn't played bad, and when he's on the field, he's actually played really well, but injuries have just been taking a toll, and he hasn't been able to get on the field a whole lot. And so the question is, can he stay healthy enough to fulfill his promise? Because he's shown the flashes. So I've got him in. I was kind of harsh on him. I've got him in that still waiting category.
I don't think that's harsh, Brad. I think I initially, as I said, I go top down. Right? Not franchise, not game changer. Solid starter was the first one where I went yes, and then have a slight more look at exactly the things you talked about. And like, he's really good when he's on the field, but we're yet to see the massive hype from him to be that solid starter, and that's largely based around his injury lifetime. And it just hasn't been good, so I sort of had to sit him on that borderline a little bit further down into still waiting. So Manjot, what are your thoughts? You've obviously got a bit of a different. Do you have him sitting in the solid starter category?
I'm honestly, look, I feel like there's probably a few Carolina Panthers fans probably screaming at us because of what they've just heard. Because I think for years, like, the Carolina Panthers fans have known how great he has been, and I think J.C. Horn had shown very great potential as a lockdown corner. It's definitely the injuries have taken a toll. But last year, he really rebounded after a very tough 2023, staying on the field where he only played 6 games. Last year, he managed to get to 15 games, still missed a couple, but he still got there. And I think with J.C. Horn, it's a very interesting one. But I feel like with the guys we already have in the game changers tier, I'd even argue he'd be a game changer for me. Like, I feel like with the talent alone, I know injuries are concerned, but once he gets his body right, he did also sign that big contract recently with the Panthers as well. $25 million a year they paid him. So it really shows just how much they value him as one of the top defensive backs in the league. I'll definitely say maybe not as great as some of the other guys we're just about to talk about, but I think JC Horn, I'd put him in that game changer sort of category. I'd argue for that.
Wow,
I'm just having a
first controversy.
Yeah, Brad. I'm having a quick look at his stats based off that. Now, the first year, his rookie year, he only played 3 games, and we can probably put that down to that's his rookie year a cornerback. Second year in, 13. 2022, do we only have 13 games? No, we had more than that.
Full season.
So that's 13 games is what he played, started and played. 53 combined tackles, 37 of which was solo. And then he had a few interceptions, including some pick sixes in there, actually, I think. Yes. There's some pressures. Yes, he got some yards, return yards on the interceptions.
Look, Ian, I'll just offer I might change this one up to a solid starter because I think just looking at his PFF grade as well, just really across the board, he's just above average. He's ranked 82nd out of 222.
That's where I was getting to, Manjot, is he played 2 more games in 24 than he did in 22. There is probably about 10 more tackles in that and a couple of sacks, which is great, but the interception rate has really gone down. That 2023 stats where he only played 6 games, started and played 6 games, really hurt him, I think, because there's 10 games he was out of the league there with injury. So, solid starter is about as close as I could get to where Manjot is, Brad. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, again, this is one a little bit of controversial. I think all 3 of the Carolina Panthers fans that exist, would probably want him to be in that solid starter, and they're paying him like a solid starter. But personally, I think he's still waiting. But I can live with him as a solid starter. I wouldn't say no to him on my team.
Let's go.
Yeah, I've got to walk back that game changer one there, boys.
Yeah. A bit high. That's all right, man. You say how you feel, mate. Say how you feel.
Yeah.
All right. Pick number 10. Howie Roseman chose for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Except you skipped number 9.
Oh, did
9.
I? I went to 10. Oh, let's go backwards then. Pick number 9. Sorry, Denver Broncos. Pat Surtain II, our second cornerback off the list. All right, Brad. Pat Surtain.
Yeah. So a lot of draft nicks had him ranked as the number 1 cornerback. So it's a little bit of a surprise when Horn went ahead of him. And Surtain, to me, has just played lights out. The dude is like Revis Island the second. And I know he had a down year a little bit a couple years ago, but that was. But the difference to me in Surtain and Horn, I think Surtain had just played through his injuries and stayed on the field. I don't have his numbers in front of me.
Yeah, he's played every game of every season, Brad.
So there you go. And frankly, I put him in that franchise founders category. I just think he's that much. He's a lockdown corner, and pretty much, Sean Payton can just put him out there, forget that side of the field, and just lock it up.
NFL Defensive Player of the Year last year, Manjot, too.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And just like Penei Sewell, he's got 2 All-Pros in 4 seasons. So you've definitely, if I use the same argument for
same
Penei
metrics,
Sewell,
that's where we go.
Same metrics.
There you go.
Yeah, exact same thing. You've got to put him in if he's got 2 All-Pros, even 1 All-Pro. You could potentially argue as well in the franchise founder.
And isn't that interesting, just the difference between JC Horn and Pat Surtain? One pick after each other, right there. And just the difference that JC, again, JC could be a great cornerback, but the health is a major reason as to why you can only ever put him into that solid starter category, because he just hasn't been healthy. If he has another lights out season, we were to do this exercise next season, then our answer may be very different on JC Horn. But all right, pick number 10. I went too early. That's a common problem. Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman picked Devonta Smith, the first of Yeah, well, not the first, sorry. The third wide receiver off the board in the draft. And, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles, Brad, have never... Well, Howie Roseman seemingly has never missed a pick yet.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, and I remember paying out Eagles fans when they drafted him because the dude was like, 20 kilos soaking wet.
Still
coming
is!
out of- yeah.
One Matty C.
I'm coming out of college. I did not really think his body would hold up. I truly didn't. His frame, when you looked at it, but he's reliable. He's a precise route runner. He's a good number 2 wide receiver. Do I think he's number 1? No. I think he's a good number 2 receiver, and he's clutch, and he's made some really clutch plays in the key moments. So he's definitely impressed me compared to what I thought he was going to do originally coming out. I put him in the solid starter category.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, I put him in a game changer, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting him in game changer.
Because he is that solid number 2, as you say, Brad. He is absolutely a solid number 2, and every team, I think, in the league would kill to have a solid number 2 wide receiver. Someone you can count on every day, like every single game, for every single minute of the game, just to count on that guy week in, week out. He's not the guy you build your franchise around, but as a wide receiver too,
He's a good 2.
yeah, I would,
all right.
yeah,
Okay.
one of the best, I think. He's
Yeah,
won
look,
me a
if
lot
we're
of money
putting-
over the year.
Yeah, if we're putting Jalen Waddle in game changers, I rate Devonta Smith's career over Jalen Waddle, so I definitely put him in game changers.
Yeah.
Oh, do you
That's-
really?
I'm
See, I don't, but that's okay.
No, I think that's subjective, but that's yeah.
That's
Debate for another day, but
Yeah.
I would say Devonta Smith, with his body of work, he's won a Heisman in college, and then when he came into the NFL, he's just been a very solid receiver, as we've said. And then in the Super Bowl recently, he caught that 46-yard touchdown from Jalen Hurts, becoming the first Alabama player to score in a Super Bowl, which just really shows that even though it's sort of a bit dependent on team, that sort of stat, it just shows that Devonta Smith can be sort of a player that we talk about for a while. So I think definitely putting him in game changers. I was trying, in my heart, just thinking about it, I was like, damn, I'd love for him to be a franchise founder, though. Just thinking about him as a player, I just definitely think he had some sort of potential for a franchise founder, but definitely game changer.
Ian, sorry, this is why I miss Manjot. The fact that he can quote the exact yardage that he caught his touchdown pass. The
I read it
46-yard
just a
Super
few
Bowl
minutes ago.
touchdown. Oh, jeez. All right. Okay. Still, it's just come on, man.
I don't have the nerdy drop though, Brad. So, but I can
I'm getting exposed, guys.
all I can give you is
Oh, that's such a great drop.
maybe a bit of.
Smiles and glory holes.
No.
Give me a bit of Jerry. Righto, pick number 11. The Chicago Bears, who interestingly enough ended up at this pick with a what's the word I'm looking for, Manjot?
Trade.
With a trade. God Lord, I just lost English apparently. With a trade with the New York Giants, they traded the Giants traded the 11th to Chicago for a first and a fifth, so the 20th and the 164th, alongside their 2022 first and fourth as well. Oh, so the Giants were originally in this pick, and the Chicago Bears came up and they chose the fourth QB off the board, which is Justin Fields. Now, I'm really interested in Manjot's thoughts here on Justin Fields because he earlier, you would have heard him say he has to go off history and not off potential for these players. So, Manjot, history of Justin Fields, where does he fit in amongst those 5 rankings we've got?
Yeah, honestly, I would say he's definitely still waiting. Every year. It's the same thing with Kyle Pitts. It's the exact same thing I was saying. Is that every year we're waiting for Justin Fields to break out. But we're still waiting. We're still waiting for that. So, easy category for me.
Brad, you happy with that?
Yeah, electrifying runner, still waiting on the passing game. You gotta wonder, is this a fresh start or is this his last chance? With the Jets. So, It'll be interesting to see. I think it's going to make for some good drama in New York.
Yeah, the Jets. The Jets obviously think they've got a guy though, because they have been really building around him.
Yeah.
So they seriously think that they've got a dude. So that's been interesting to watch. I probably would put him between still waiting and solid starter, but that would be me not going off history. That'd be me going off what his actual capabilities are. I would usually put him a little more of a solid starter, but if you use Manjot's metrics, then there's a good term, isn't it? Manjot's metrics. Stick him in still waiting. So where are we at? Pick number 12, Brad.
Dun 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 dun.
Brad.
And with the 12th
Smiles
pick of
and
the
glory
20.
holes.
That's the Dallas Cowboys pick Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State.
And the crowd goes wild. Thank you very much. Touchdown, Cowboys!
Brad, franchise founder for Micah Parsons?
Oh, is there any doubt?
No, not really.
No?
I think just about anybody in the league would kill to have Micah Parsons on their defense.
Absolutely not. Dude, he's one of one. I've said it a lot. He's one of one.
In every aspect of his life is he one of one.
Yes. In the
There's-
good and the bad.
Actually, I saw a video just during the week that because obviously he has his own podcast and he does stuff, but he had CJ Stroud on, and they went through a cool little exercise with, I think they did maybe they went 5-man or something. No, anyway, they went Micah's defense against. So anybody in the league, I think they said, or they might have said anybody in history. I can't remember, but one or two. It was Micah's defense against CJ's offense, and they drew it up and talked through why they would do it. It's awesome. It was an awesome bit of
That
stuff.
would be really cool.
I might find that later for you to have a bit of a watch, Brad, because I think you'll really enjoy watching that. But if anyone else is out there, just try and find that Micah Parsons podcast. Manjot, what's it called? I thought you would know. What's Micah Parsons podcast? I can't remember. Anyway,
It's
Is
his
it
Bleacher
just a Micah
Report, isn't
Parsons
he?
show?
who knows? I don't know. I can't
Oh,
remember. Anyway,
The Edge. The
The
Edge
Edge.
with Micah Parsons.
there we go.
Look at you.
I knew it was something shit. It's no G'day Gridiron, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, let's move on. Lucky number pick 13. Los Angeles Chargers picked Rashawn Slater, tackle out of Northwestern. Brad, I don't know a hell of a lot about Rashawn Slater, only what I could really Google. I think Manjot's in the same space, to be honest.
I'll be honest, boys. I'll start off with this one. I'm going to bring a spicy one here. I'm going to put in franchise founders. I think he's a really great offensive tackle. Let me just bring up the stat PFF rankings. Of course, we love using that on this show. His overall grade, 91.1. Second out of 140 tackles. So if you got the second best tackle in the league in terms of PFF rating, I'm definitely putting him in franchise founder.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No,
Chargers picked up his 5th-year option, so they didn't want to spend the money just yet. But yeah, God Lord, he's looking at his snap counts though. He is way up there.
Yeah.
He had an instant impact as a rookie, like dramatically. The only thing reason I had him lower, and I originally put him at solid starter. I think I would rescind that and put him at game changer. But it was because I believe he does have an All Pro. I think he has one All Pro. But again, it was just the injury aspect of it.
Second team All Pro 2021.
Okay.
2 Pro Bowl selections 2021 and 2024.
Okay.
He was the PFWA All Rookie Team 2021.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, at the very least, he needs to be game changer.
Yeah.
51
games played and started. He took 100% of their offensive snaps in 2021 and 2023. 100%.
That's okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Loves a holding penalty.
Yeah. That's
He cut down on that
impressive.
this season, though.
That's
He did cut
impressive.
down on it. Yes, he went from 7 holding penalties in 23 to 2 in 24. So that's some work,
Yeah, that's showing some intelligence too. So,
some growth.
Ian,
think he
where
had a-
are you going to put him?
I had good. I had him in Game Changer, but I just having a look at that. As I said, I'm
Yeah.
not great with his career, and I can only really look at the stats. Having a talk of that, and just the stuff Manjot said, and just having a think. I think I'm with you guys. I think we move into franchise founder.
All right. Okay. Yep. I got no problem with that.
He's that Penn Sul kind of tackle, really, isn't he?
He's in that same mold. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm happy with that. I am very happy with that. Alrighty, pick number 14. The New York Jets screw up somebody else. This time it's Elijah Vera-Tucker, guard out of USC.
He's had a good career. The thing that has been impressive about him is he's played multiple positions on that O line, and again, injuries have been an issue. But the Jets love him. He's still key to their future. I think he's in that solid starter category.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
I'd agree with that too.
All
I
right.
don't think. Yeah, again though, like he came out of college with a lot of talk about him, and I think if he wasn't on the Jets, if he would have went somewhere else, he's a very versatile player on that O line, like you said, Brad. I think he could have been more than what he is, but at the moment, it is nothing more than a solid starter.
Now, with this next pick, do we say not Mac Jones, not Mac Jones?
Not Mac
Yeah.
Jones.
Not Mac Jones.
Because at number 15, the New England Patriots, of course, selected Mac Jones, QB out of Alabama. I mean, realistically, we have to put Mac Jones in the bus watch, don't we?
Ooh, yeah.
You tell us, man. He's on your team.
Yeah, look, he had...
It's not going to be a
rookie-
bust out because it's a 49er.
All right. Hold up, boys. I was always listed as a certified Mac Jones hater.
I
but
see
have to
through
give
you.
him
That's
credit.
right, Manjot. I see through you.
I have to give credit. His rookie season was great, but after that, he was just a complete bust. Like, great rookie season, but that's where like the ceiling hit, and then he just went downhill from there. So I reckon I'd put him in bust watch. For sure. Just he hasn't shown anything since he was a rookie.
That's good because that's where it was going, Manjot. I don't really...
Yeah.
What your opinion on Mac Jones as a 49er doesn't matter because he hasn't played as a 49er yet, okay?
Yeah.
So...
I mean, how often do you see that? Well, that's the thing that makes me pause. Is that how often does a quarterback have their best season as a rookie, and then
Yeah.
usually it's the other way around. So it's weird to me. I don't get it.
All right,
Yeah,
boys.
It's definitely one.
That's the top 15 out of 32. So this next one is our halfway point.
Oof.
I suggest we probably start kicking on a little bit and let's get some let's just get some first thought like options. One out of those 5, okay? For these next couple of guys. There will be a couple of guys we can definitely talk about, but for the next few, let's go. Cardinals got Zaven Collins.
Yeah, so to me, the linebacker's been a disappointing position in this draft. He's got size, he's got athleticism, but his role's still unclear. He's had flashes, but he needs consistency. So I'm putting him in the still waiting.
Manjot,
Yeah.
cool with that? Yep.
Totally agree.
Manjot, Alex Leatherwood. Good Lord.
Oh, look,
We have to
boys,
we have to talk a tiny bit about Alex Leatherwood. Of course, Alex Leatherwood was picked up by the Las Vegas Raiders, who then cut him after his rookie year, which was just an unbelievable set of circumstances when that came out in 2022 when they'd actually cut him. And then he's been kind of jumped around the league here and there since then.
I'll be honest, the moment the ESPN draft coverage said he was a meme connoisseur as one of his top traits, that's when he knew it was over for him. So that's when he knew he was a bust. I just got to put that one there.
Most recently, Leatherwood was on the Los Angeles Chargers. He was released on August 27th and re-signed to the practice squad, and then released again by the Chargers on December 10, 2024. And at this point in time, Leatherwood does not have a team, I believe.
I'm sorry, did you just say a meme connoisseur.
He did.
Yeah, that's what they said on the draft coverage.
He did.
Oh my gosh, that is the best. Yeah, good call, Manjot.
So Alex Leatherwood signed a 4-year fully guaranteed deal worth $14.39 million with the Raiders and is currently on 0 teams after being the 17th pick of the first round of the 2021 draft. Bust. All right, Dolphins, Jalen Phillips. First thought, Manjot?
I go solid starter. I think when he's healthy,
Agreed.
definitely one of those.
Agreed. Brad? Cool.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. I had him as still waiting just because he shows the flashes when he plays, but injuries have cost him so much. But I'm happy either way.
Brad, Commanders, well, back then they were Washington football team. Jamin Davis, linebacker out of Kentucky. First thoughts?
Yeah. Who? So I don't even know. Yeah, no, he's still on the team, but his role, he's not even starting. He's a backup. And when you're a first round, I think they basically have only kept him on the team because he's a first rounder because you don't want to look so stupid.
Actually, Brad, he's on the Jets.
He's on the
He
Jets.
actually got cut last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
he signed.
There we
He
go.
re-signed with the Jets on a 1-year contract in March.
Okay, so yeah, inconsistent. I know it was kind of the catch.
He played for the
him, so-
Vikings last year when Ivan Pace got injured, and he was
Yeah.
basically didn't really see the field that much, so he was
So
nowhere.
if you're on your third team as a first round draft pick in third team in 4 years, nah, you're done.
bust.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney to the Giants, Manjot.
Okay, I'm just gonna preface. I know he had that great Super Bowl. That was with the Chiefs, but just for his time with the Giants and basically outside that Super Bowl, bust for sure.
Oh, wow, okay. So I had him as still waiting because he's got that kind of that game breaker type thing, like what you just alluded to. But he's unreliable, and he's not that available. So he's shown the flashes, and he has put up some good things to keep him slightly out of that bust category. But he hasn't lived up to the first round potential at all.
Yeah, he got cut by the Browns after one game last season. I think it's just completely over for him. But he did have some flashes when he got traded to KC, showed off his great talent.
Yeah.
Had a couple of TDs, and of course, one in a Super Bowl as well. So, interesting. Oh,
Because if you're just basing it off what
Yeah.
he did with the Giants as
No.
well,
I have to base it off what happened though. What's happened in these 4 years. And if I
Yeah.
base it off what he did with the Giants, he was nowhere. First year though, 39 receptions, 420 yards. But after that, the next year when he got traded, and it didn't really happen for him at KC that much. His total receptions at KC are 40 receptions in 2 years. Yeah. All right, I'm going bust with Manjot, so that's the way we go there. Brad, could he pay for the Colts?
Yeah, I mean he's solid. In my opinion, he plays solid. He's got high end flashes. He needs to be more consistent. That's basically what he is.
Yeah.
And he has the best name for the first round. Any of the picks, Quiddy.
Quiddy.
Who names their kid Quiddy? Was their dad Biddy? I mean, so.
yeah.
All right, at 22, the Titans pick Caleb Farley, cornerback.
Bust.
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 Yeah.
Total bust.
So
Yeah.
sad what happened to him though. He lost both his parents. I feel for him, but
Yeah. But he just hasn't lived up to anything.
definitely.
At pick number, what am I on?
23.
23, because that's where we always pick. The Minnesota
you gotta
Vikings.
do this one, Ian.
The Minnesota Vikings picked Christian Darrisaw. Now, I reckon, to me, straight up, as a Vikings fan, Darrisaw is basically just a solid starter on that team. I wouldn't put him much above that. He's not really a game changer. He's a great starter, and he is, as an offensive tackle, you can really rely on everything that happens on that O-line. But the Vikings O-line, it's not like it has been any of it's been game changing for years. It's been an issue where we float between solid starters and still waiting in terms of our stuff. So I would put Darrisaw as a solid starter.
Okay.
Yep.
So I mean, you know better than me because of the Vikings. I had him higher. Actually, I had him as a game changer, but
He's not. He would be in between those two as a personal thing, but I just don't think that he's really hit a decent height at the moment. Yeah.
okay.
He's played a lot of downs and he's played a lot of games. Like he's not been that injured.
What's his PFF rating? Do we know?
81.4, and it's 11th out of 140 tackles. So
That's
11th best.
pretty
I think that's
good.
based. I think all these ratings I've read out are last year's ratings, just to show
Yeah.
how. Yeah, I think that's where the.
I'd bump him up the game changer then. Like I said, I had him in
Game changer.
between, so I'll bump him to
Okay.
game changer with you two. No worries. Manjot, Najee Harris on Steelers, or by the Steelers. Najee Harris.
Yeah, this one's a tough one because I'd have him between still waiting and solid starter. Like he never really truly got it going with Pittsburgh when he was there. Now he's on the Chargers. We'll see what Jim Harbaugh does with him, but based on his time in Pittsburgh, I'd probably put him in the still waiting category. I feel like we expected a bit more from him, but yeah, just didn't feel like it clicked with him in Pittsburgh.
You know what? I would agree with still waiting because of the guy that we've got next at 25. If that makes sense. So, Brad?
I had him. So I've been hard on guys because of the injury thing, not being on the field. Because as a coach, there's nothing more frustrating than when a guy is not on the field. I don't care what your potential is. If you're not on the field, you're not helping me one bit. So I feel like if I'm harsh for not having guys on the field, I gotta praise a guy for being on the field, and that's what Najee is. He's a workhorse. Has he lived up to his potential? No, but he's durable, and I mean the volume of his carries. He's led the league, I think, in carries several times. So, is he that efficient? No, but he does tote the rock quite a bit. So I had him in that solid starter category.
Yep, could say that. Yeah.
There's a lot of touchdowns for some decently long yardage for a running back as well. 1,000 yards season, over 1,000 yards rushing every single season, plus
See,
receiving.
that used to be the benchmark, the 1,000
Yeah,
yard thing.
okay, agree with you, Brad. Solid starter for
I'd go
Najee
with
Harris.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just the fantasy player in me that was a little disappointed. Yeah, his longest run in his career was 32 yards, and he got that the last 2 years. So it hasn't been super game breaking, but yeah, I can see the solid starter based on the rankings we've done.
Okay, righto. Well, the next guy up, as I sort of mentioned, the Jacksonville Jaguars picked Travis Etienne. So he was selected at number 25, which was all in a trade, big old trade stuff bundled up in that, but I haven't really got the details for it. But so Etienne,
Jalen Ramsey trade.
yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
yep.
yep, that's what it was.
Right.
That's why I mentioned
Nice.
that earlier, didn't I? Yep. So they dropped down to here. They picked Travis Etienne. He suffered the dreaded Liz Frank injury in 2021 in a preseason game. Didn't play the entirety of his rookie season, but after that, a couple of 1,000-yard seasons. Only 500 last year though. The big old drop off in 2024, but I would say he's been a reasonably solid starter.
That's where I had him. He's explosive. He's really dangerous in space. Big play threat. He was that way in college. He's still that way in the NFL. But that consistency to me keeps him in that solid starter versus the game changer category.
Yeah, I hope last season wasn't the start of his fall off. I hope he
Yeah.
comes back very strong, especially for my fantasy teams.
Yeah, I hope that.
Got him in a dynasty with you boys. That's
Yeah.
why.
Definitely hope that's an anomaly for Travis Etienne because I love him as a player. So, Manjot, Cleveland Browns picked Greg Newsome second at number 26. First thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really, yeah. I mean, they have Denzel Ward across him and that sort of thing, but looking at his PFF grade last year, just wasn't great. I'm not entirely sure where you guys put him. Like, I'd put him in the still waiting, maybe a bust, but yeah, I just don't think he's ever really seen the field that much. So I'd probably, still waiting a bust, depending on where you guys go.
Started a lot of games in his first 3 seasons. Last
Yeah.
season only started 3 games out of 13 that he was available for. So that I think tells you everything about where I would put him. I would put him solidly at the bottom as a bust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think by we've talked about this before with DBs especially. I think by year 4 that's where you should be coming on as a DB
Not
because they sort
dropping
of
off.
not dropping off that much. So I think if you're getting to the point at year 4 where you're only starting 3 games, like you're barely on the actual run on squad and barely even playing in a game, then I think it's bust time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit, I probably had him way too high. I had him as solid starter, but that you bring up a really good point, Ian. So I'm okay if we drop him.
Yeah. I think it's just based on last year, really, that it just fell off for him last year.
Well,
after
yeah,
about week
and
3.
we talked about it. I think years ago, the 3 of us, Brad, that it was the defensive backs, especially the cerebral stuff, needs to really click into gear, and it takes a while for the guys. Like their bodies are amazing, and they're so fit and so healthy because they can do so many ridiculous things whilst backpedaling against wide receivers that are running, like full. Like 4.1s and shit and 40s, but the mind in being able to read the offense and knowing where to put themselves, that comes later, and that usually comes after that sort of 4-year period as they start to really know what's happening on a field. And again, I think by the 4th year you should be showing enough that says give me a second contract, so that you can get to the 3rd contract, because the 3rd one is always where defensive backs get paid properly. So that's why. That's my thoughts around DBs especially. Brad, Rashad Bateman by the Ravens.
Yeah, this guy is a little bit of an anomaly for me because he's always shown flashes of that wide receiver 1 skill set. But he's just not consistent enough, and health has been an issue. He hasn't even been targeted like a wide receiver 1. So this is a crucial year for him. So I've kind of got him as that still waiting category, but to me he's borderline. But yeah, that's why I'm putting him in the still waiting.
Interesting, because I put him as a solid starter. Last year he had 750 yards as well, 9 touchdowns. It's his best year. Everything started clicking for Rashad Bateman. The years before, though, is a bit shaky, but I think he's starting to get there. I think he is a solid starter. They did just reward him only a few weeks ago now, just with a new contract as well. So I think that really shows that he's a solid starter. The amount he got paid as well suggests he's a solid starter.
All right, I can go with that.
I'll go with that. Righto. Peyton Turner at the Saints. Peyton Turner is a defensive end, and I don't think we've heard much from Peyton Turner, and he's on the Saints.
He's had injury. I don't even think he's playing for him anymore. He's had injuries.
He's on the Cowboys now.
Oh gosh.
He's a bust.
Oh no, he's he's a solid starter. What are you talking about?
He signed a 1-year deal with the Cowboys, mate.
Jeez, No, the Cowboys love trying to reclaim first round draft picks, and they think just because they're in the Cowboys they're going to do good now. How'd that work out for Trey Lance? Yeah,
They just get him cheap. That's the thing.
Not a 4th round draft pick. That ain't cheap. But they got a 5th round compensatory, I think, for Trey, so it wasn't bad. But yeah,
I don't know. Well, I was just trying to find out what they actually paid Peyton Turner, because nothing says it so far where I was looking. It's a 1-year deal in free agency, and if things implode for me, I might be able to tell it. Contract in case he'll have an opportunity to prove himself to someone with $2 million of his $3 million max value. There you go, Brad.
Yeah.
Signed to a $3 million deal. A 1st-round draft pick got signed to a $3 million deal in his 4th year in the league.
Bargain.
Bust.
Oh, yeah. I would put him at
Bargain.
a bust.
No, that's later on, Brad, when we rank the Cowboys players versus how much they cost the franchise.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, the Green Bay Packers picked quarterback Eric Stokes at 29. Brad?
Still waiting.
Still waiting.
He had a good rookie season, but his injuries slowed his momentum. Yeah, so he hasn't really done a whole lot. You could potentially put him in the bust, but nah.
Manjot, Buffalo Bills picked Gregory Rousseau, defensive end, at number 30.
Yeah, I think, yeah, this one's a interesting one. I'd probably go. I mean, solid starter, but he has potential with the game changer sort of thing. He had 8 sacks last season, and he had 8 sacks in 2022 as well. So he's been up there. I think Gregory Rousseau, though, he's a solid starter for me at the moment.
I think solid starter's right, Manjot. 8 sacks in the regular season, 2 very crucial ones from what I remember in the postseason as well. As well as 2 the year before. Like, he's had postseason stuff. So, yeah. I think you're right. I think solid starter is about where you could put him.
Yeah, that's where I have him.
Cool. All right. Brad, do you want to go again with the Ravens? Jason Owa or Odofi Owa. Defensive end for the Ravens.
I've got him as a solid starter. Just I think this is the way he was used with them, and he shows good flashes, but it's nothing. Oh my gosh, lightning jumps out at you. But his athleticism is amazing. It just hasn't translated on the field in terms of when he was in the draft. He was considered kind of this freak athlete type thing. But he just hasn't got the sacks. He hasn't got the numbers that has matched up to that.
I don't know, Brad.
I would throw this one out last year. Yes.
What? How many did he have?
10
last year.
Right,
11 if you count the postseason.
Let me rewind that. So I really think the sack numbers has been good, and so
he's one of those guys on the defensive side of the ball that, as you can see, his starting numbers of games have increased over the years to where he started 10 last season, and he got 10 sacks in those 10 starts. Well, he played in 16 games, so 10 sacks in 16 games. Tackle-wise, not a huge number of tackle counts, but I think that's just because of how you play when you're coming off the edge. So the way they use him, especially the Ravens, is with their defensive scheme. But Manjot, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. I really want to, in terms of like his athleticism, his traits, and that big sack number last season, I definitely want to put him in a game changer. But the other 3 seasons sort of suggested solid starter. But I really, just based on last year, like game changer, it's a really sort of, just not 100% sure. I'd probably put him as solid starter for now, but I definitely, if this was done next year, I'd put him in game changer. I feel like that's how good he'll be this season.
Yeah, I would go solid starter for now, I think. But yeah, he's coming on, which you can see his numbers are increasing. His workload is increasing with the team, which is great because they're obviously teaching him more. All right, the 2020 Tom Brady Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 32 picked Joe Tryon Shoyinka. Shoyinka? I can't see his name. Shoyinka. There we go.
Yeah.
Out of the Washington Huskies. So, Brad.
Well, we hate the Huskies, so I've got him in the still waiting category. He's had flashes.
His sack numbers aren't great, Brad.
Yeah,
and he only did 11 out of 11 games. Started 11, played 11 last year.
Okay. So he hasn't put up the numbers.
No, I would say no.
I'm putting him in. Personally, I'd put him in the still waiting because he's not a bust in the sense of he gets on the field. He's good enough to play on the field. He just doesn't put up anything beyond that.
That's where I would put him as well. Based off, obviously, we talked about OR last, as a solid starter, and I think Tryon would be basically as a still waiting. Those numbers haven't increased, and he's really got to start showing a bit more. So, righto. Look at that. How's that for a tier? That is so... it's really
like
even, and I kind of like it. We've done really well, boys. So, really, really good. So that was a great exercise. 2021 draft class review for the first round. Rank those guys. You can see that there on your screen. As I said, if you go to tiermaker.com, you will find this as a template that you can search up, and you can do your own tier if you want to do that, and tag us in it on socials, on Instagram. Please do that at G'day Gridiron on Insta or Facebook, or you could tag, and you can also tag same as well at Aussie Gridiron Network as well. Righto, boys. Top 5 players for each. So we're going to run through. We've each gone through and gotten our top 5 players for the entire draft. And you guys are going to give me your top 5. I'm going to give you mine as well. 5 through to 1. So let's start off. Manjot's our guest. So why don't we start off with Manjot today? Let me bring up that one. Manjot's top 5 players of the whole of the 2021 draft. Manjot, we've gone old school, even with the logo pictures. We've got the Myth logo from way back in 2022.
It's still on the t-shirt here for you guys watching at home. It still got a pastry press profile picture, so it's still old school. It's still being kept all these years later.
So, Manjot, 5 down to 1. What have you got?
Oh, this was okay. I'm just gonna put it out there. All 5 of these guys could be my number 1, but here we go. I'm just gonna go.
Just give us some names, because we are at an hour 15.
Yes, indeed. All right, I'm gonna go number 5 here. Penisul. I think very solid starter there. Number 4, his teammate picked in the 4th round, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Another great starter there. Now number 3, I'm gonna go with Jamar Chase. Number 2, Micah Parsons, and number 1, Pat Surtain.
Oh,
very
interesting.
Nice. Very nice, Manjot. Very nice.
Interesting. Wow. All right.
Give us a little bit about why Pat Surtain, mate.
Oh, Defensive Player of the Year last season, I think. Really just put it over the line. Couple of All-Pros. I definitely, it was a toss-up between him, Parsons, Chase. All 5 of those guys, as I said, could be in that number 1, but I just went Pat Surtain because he's won that big award there, the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. I think that just pushed him over the line.
Righto, cool. All right. Well, next up, Brad's top 5 players in the 2021 draft. Brad, 5 down to 1. What have you got for us?
Yeah, so I'm putting how crazy is it for the Lions to be able to get, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, 2 top 5 players, in this draft. So I put Amon-Ra St. Brown as number 5 for my pick to start it off. At number 4, I don't value cornerback nearly as much in the sense of it's great when they're on the field, but their longevity. So I kind of looked a little bit in crystal ball ahead. And so I put Patrick Surtain at number 4, not just because I don't see him being on the field for having the long years like the other guys. Number 3, I say Penei Sewell. I love me some offensive linemen. Number 2, I put at Jamar Chase. So that means, the number 1 pick is Mr. Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Yes. The man is a myth. He is a legend. No offense, Manjot. But, he's unreal. I love him.
None taken, Brad. He's an awesome player. Got to put him at number 1.
All right. My top 5 players from the 2021 draft. Boys, number 5. You all seem to have forgotten a bloke that was picked way down the bottom of the 7 rounds of the 2021 draft. A guy who had over 1,000 yards receiving the last 2 seasons, including 15 touchdowns. Nico Collins. We all forget about Nico Collins. Number 5, I've got Nico Collins. Number 4, Brad, you're Micah Parsons.
Oh, bite your tongue.
Number 3, a guy that we all sort of seem to have forgotten about, who the Eagles got as an absolute steal. One of probably Hall of Fame, a future Hall of Fame center, Landon Dickerson.
Yep.
He's great.
Yeah.
Number 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That dude,
Whoa.
the sun god, is just like, there is so much skill, like just natural skill oozing from this dude. Doesn't put a foot wrong. He's been amazing since he's been in the league. Number 1, Jamar Chase, the best wide receiver in this whole thing.
Wow.
So,
I love it. We all got 3 slightly different picks. I love this. It's good.
Yep.
so that's my top 5.
I love this.
What a great draft that was with some of the guys we got.
It is. As a totality, as a whole, it was a really good draft. And I think one of the things that stuck out about for me, is that going into it, people didn't necessarily think that the O-line was going to be that great. But it's turned into a fantastic draft for O-linemen. So
Totally agree. That's exactly why picking guys like Dickinson, who is who was absolute. Again, the Eagles just cannot put a foot wrong. Howie Roseman cannot put a foot wrong when he drafts. So that's why he's last week. You would have heard us say that he's the best GM in the entire league. So
yeah.
Is what it is.
Dickinson, Creed Humphreys, center
Yeah.
for Quinn Menierez, Trey Smith, all these guys. They all the offensive linemen up the wazoo.
Yep. Cool. So that's our 2021 draft review. If we're still happen to be doing this amazing podcast and show when we get around to 2026, we'll do a 2022 draft review, which of course Manjot is going to be just as good, the 2022 NFL draft review. So many guys in that draft as well that we can probably consider in that bottom 5. Guys, Brad, you know what, Manjot? I really love doing this tier thing versus how we've done it before.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a better format. I think, Brad, named the tiers very well as well. Great name of things. I'm definitely gonna say. So I bet he named his children very well as well. I bet. I'm just putting out there. Shout out to all Brad's kids. I hope you agree with that take there. But look, I will say it's been a fun exercise, boys, and I think the tiers definitely worked better this year. I might as well go through some older draft classes than you boys on some of my YouTube videos as well. So
do it.
Watch out for that. We're doing some very NFL history sort of things. We're planning it all out right now, but hopefully get that going real soon.
Maybe Manjot, could you repost your Trey Lance draft pick reaction?
It's up there on YouTube. They don't need the repost.
No, repost.
I want to see some of these. I want to see your Jimmy G one. No, you wouldn't do one that far back. So
I think Nick Bosa was up there for 2019 one for you guys, if you guys want to check that out.
But that's a good pick. That's a good pick, Manjot. That's the difference.
That's a no-brainer, man. That's a great
But
pick.
both, I will say just real quickly, both Nick Bosa and Trey Lance, I was just really stressed over beforehand, and I was just like, oh God, please let us not draft someone, and please let us get this guy, and it just happened both times where I was hyped. So there you guys go. Very early Manjot days for you guys.
Very early. All right, cool. Well, you can catch everything Manjot on Pastry Press NFL on Instagram and YouTube. On YouTube at Pastry Press NFL is the home of where you will find everything Aussie Gridiron Network on YouTube. So you'll be able to, if you're listening to this on a podcast, you can go and watch all that there, as well as we did some interviews and some highlights and stuff from the Hunter Gridiron All-Stars versus American Football ACT Monarchs game last Sunday. Maddie, myself, and Manjot were down there, did some interviews. Manjot called the entire game. So you go to the YouTube, you'll find a highlights package that will be up for that. If it's not up already, it will be up this weekend for sure, once I do a little bit more editing. You can find everything G'day Gridiron at the Aussie Gridiron Network Linktree. That is Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. You'll find everything to do there with our socials, the merch store, and everything to do with the fantasy boys over at Aussie NFL Fantasy. And of course, if you do want to get involved or you want some more info about the Aussie Gridiron Network as a whole, please get in contact with us either here or via the AGN social media handles. Until next week, thank you very much, Manjot, for joining us. Brad, it's been awesome once again, and we will see everybody later on.
Thank you, everyone.